Hey everyone, Marissa here. In today's Pick a Card reading, we will be addressing your Starseed mission. At least one aspect, one layer, one subtlety of your blueprint this time around. We'll be covering three aspects today during this reading. The first, we will be addressing what it is that you are currently here to express and share with the collective of humanity at this time. The next thing we'll be addressing is your current karmic predicament, or in other words, any challenge or obstacle, whether that's internal or external, that is helping you clear karma for the collective of humanity. And lastly, with those energies blended, so what you're here to share and your karmic predicament, we will be addressing what your current highest timeline potential / probability is. So just remember that energies are always changing and shifting. This is not necessarily a broad scope of your entire incarnation. However, there might be some undertones that seem like they have kind of followed you, like themes that have followed you throughout your entire incarnation. So again, just be aware, just be in tune with what your guidance is as you are tuning into these readings. Remember, this is a co-creative experience. So we have 4 piles to choose from today. Here are your 4 cards to pick from using your spiritual eye. You can pause the video if you need more time. And know that you might be drawn to more than one pile, and also you might not be drawn to any pile specifically today. So don't force it. If it doesn't fit, you can come back at a different time. And when you're feeling ready, we're going to jump right into these readings. What's up, pile number 1? If this is the pile that you chose for your reading, we're going to get right into it. Have not looked at any of your cards yet. We are using a combination of oracle cards and tarot today to dive into different aspects, the 3 aspects of this reading. So again, what it is that you're currently here to express. We're going to dive into your current karmic predicaments / challenges that you're currently healing for the collective of humanity at this time. And lastly, your highest timeline potential / probability from here. So we are going to start with your oracle for what you're currently here to express and share with the world at this time. We have called coming up soul gifts and training. It's time to step up. So in this moment in time, it seems like you guys are probably feeling the energies, like you probably feel a lot bubbling beneath the surface in terms of wanting to, like almost feeling an urgency in terms of wanting to express something or wanting to share something with the world. I wouldn't be surprised if you guys are in the realms of, you have a lot of ideas. Ooh, I see 1111. If you guys are having a lot of ideas coming up at this time or receiving a lot of downloads, or, you know, I'm hearing that some of you might even be feeling a little bit scattered with where to go with what you are receiving, with the insights that you're receiving, or how to apply the gifts and the knowledge and those things that feel very innate and very natural to you. Learning how to create something tangible out of that, something that is long-standing, long-term, sustainable, and that's giving back to the planet at this time. You know, this is a reading specifically for starseeds, so just understand, I'm sure you guys know that starseeds are here mainly for the collective ascension of planet Earth. So what it is that what brings us deep fulfillment is knowing that whatever it is that we're doing in life and what we're creating has a tangible and visceral effect on those that are called to interact with our work. So I wouldn't be surprised if you guys are just feeling kind of, I'm almost getting an energy of like frustration or like impatience is really what I'm feeling here. So we're going to get a little bit deeper into this message with the tarot. So we have the Hierophant coming up. Not surprised. We have the 8 of Wands, and we also have the Page of Wands in reverse. So it's very clear that whatever it is that you guys are currently exploring, I feel like it's calling you to step up into a role that might be a little bit uncomfortable. So with this Page of Wands in reverse with the Hierophant, I feel like you guys have, and the 8 of Wands too, you guys have a lot, like you guys have a very powerful message, right? 8 of Wands can talk about potent message, quick moving energy. With the Page of Wands in reverse, it kind of reminds me of, you know, the page is the youngest court card. So I feel like there's a hesitancy of being a novice, right? There's almost like you are feeling hesitant of starting something new because you don't want to look like you don't know what you're doing, or you feel like you don't have what it takes, or like imposter syndrome is definitely what I'm getting from this first row and the energy that's coming through. So the fact that we have the Hierophant coming up and soul gifts and training coming up, I mean, if you guys have been wondering if you should like take a class or start some sort of long-term program or find some sort of higher learning, it doesn't necessarily even mean like the traditional college kind of thing, but it could even mean like being an apprentice or studying with that Reiki master that you know is really good and has a ton of clients, you know, that hosts workshops or whatever. This is really saying that if you have been called at this time to explore certain avenues in terms of higher learning, that this is confirmation that yes, this is going to absolutely help. And I feel like not only like you'll be learning new things, of course, but I feel like what is mainly coming through is this will kind of confirm to you how tuned in and tapped in you already are. Because again, I'm feeling a lot of Mercury energy coming through. So, you know, Mercury and Hermes reminds me of the messengers of God. And that's really what the Hierophant is. The Hierophant is the bridge between heaven and earth. The Hierophant is the channel that bridges higher codes of consciousness. And it's just, you know, some of us just come in with much less impediments to our psychic gifts and to seeing beyond the veil, and are really gifted at expressing things. So I feel like you guys are really gifted teachers already. It's just like, again, this imposter syndrome. I feel like you probably have such big dreams and you're like, but you know, they're so big. And I feel like a deeper part of you knows that you have it in you, that you can do this. I feel like you guys don't struggle really with believing in yourself until like you're looking at the bigger picture. But in terms of taking the smaller steps to get there, I feel like, you know, Spirit's just coming through and saying, just focus on each step as it comes. Because you guys are a natural teacher. You guys are a very natural bridge. I mean, most starseeds are, but in general, you guys seem to be, you know, certain starseeds, and depending on the planetary system that you come from, we all have different gifts, right? You've spent different lifetimes and incarnations honing in on specific skills and gifts. So it seems like you guys are ones that are more comfortable being a teacher, where you're actually showing up and working with clients, working with a big group of people, maybe working with a small group of people. But overall, it's like, even if you feel that little bit of like hesitancy, I'm just getting strong like teacher vibes. You know, there are some starseeds, for example, that come in that are here to be much more of like transmuters and beings that are here to just uplift vibrationally speaking, and not so much like taking action. I shouldn't say not so much taking action, as it doesn't look as big as bold, but it's equally as important, right? Every role is equally as important. There's no better or worse. However, the group that is being drawn to this pile at this time, I'm getting that you guys are here to have an audience. You guys are here to, like, a lot of people probably already believe in you and already see you as this type of person and feel like it's only a matter of time. So I feel like overall, what you're currently here to express and share, I feel like this is saying two things. So first, being confident in the messages that you're receiving, through your divine channel. But also, if, again, I feel like this is confirmation for a vast majority of you, if you have been called to enhance what you're already doing in any way and making tweaks, or, you know, stepping up to the plate in terms of maybe you're going to start hosting things where you're training people, or you're hosting workshops, you're hosting retreats, right? It's like whatever you're doing, it's like it's time to reach that next step, like not getting too comfortable. And with this Page of Wands, I feel like there's just a little bit of hesitancy. You're feeling like a novice. You're feeling like you don't necessarily have what it takes, but that's all part of it. I mean, that's part of being connected to the collective of humanity, right? So we're going to get into what your current karmic predicament is, or your current challenge, which kind of already came through in this first one, but let's see what's coming through. So we have selfhood. Before I even need to turn over the tarot, I mean, this Artemis card, this selfhood card, honestly talks about believing in yourself. Like, this is someone with Artemis coming through. I mean, she has her eye on the prize, right? She knows where she's going. She's not getting distracted. Like, when you are in a space where, you know, if you were in the woods and you have your bow and you have your arrow and you see the prized possession, you see the animal, you see what you want to strike, you see your goal, it's like you have to be so focused, and it's like you're so aware of the subtleties around you, but they're not throwing you off. So you can absolutely in this time be aware of your challenges, being aware of your insecurities, being aware of all of those things, but they're not so overwhelming that they're going to cause you to miss your goal, right? So I feel like you're in this place where I think deep down, you know what you're here for, and deep down, it almost just feels like one of those things where when you look back at older pictures of yourself, like a decade ago, and you can kind of see yourself blossoming, you can kind of feel like your awkward energy, like you haven't really grown into yourself. I feel like this is one of those things of the more that you do it, the quicker that you're going to grow into yourself, and the more natural it's going to feel. Like, you're not going to feel awkward because you haven't owned and embodied it, but you're going to feel like this is just who I am. You're going to own it. And so your confidence around yourself is going to go up, and also how other people are receiving you, their confidence in you is going to be a lot higher as well, because they can feel that within you as well. So your tarot here is the Fool. So your current challenge and your current predicament is just going for it, is just taking the leap, is just believing in yourself so much so, believing that when you take the leap and when you jump off the edge of the cliff, that you are going to be caught by your magic carpet, by your cloud nine, by your guides, whatever it is that you want to believe in. Ultimately, I feel like, yeah, I think this is more of a reading where it's like you already know this. I mean, that's pretty much what tarot does. Tarot is just here to confirm what we're already pretty much intuiting. So I'm feeling like, if anything, this is just here to confirm to you that you have what it takes. And that a lot of people, like, the elements and the resources and everything everything is going to work. Nature is going to bend in your favor to work out for you. I believe that's Terence McKenna that says, when you start to trust yourself and when you really start to bank on the universe and you bet yourself, and this is totally me paraphrasing, but it's like, oh, I just saw 11:21 on 2 clocks at the same time. So that might be a relevant number for you. So Terence McKenna, totally paraphrasing, says that when we bet on ourselves and when we live in this energy of being the Fool, where most people would be like, no, I'm not going to do this, or no, I don't want to put myself out there in this way. It's like the winds of nature and the elements, the forces of nature bend to work in your favor. And so I think you guys already know that. You've already seen that in other aspects of your life where things have just worked out for you better than you could have even imagined, right? It's like you couldn't have even tried to visualize it working out any better. And so why would this be any different? You know, this is a soul blueprint reading. This is in your blueprint to be a teacher, to be a high level guide for many, many people. I wouldn't be surprised if you're already there, but I feel like it might just be this next step is making you a little bit nervous, but it's like, you've done this before, and like, so what? Like, you know, little nerves have not stopped you before. But it just feels like, I think you can just feel, you can intuit, and I'm excited to get farther into this reading. I believe that you're just intuiting how much more you're going to expand. Like, you can feel the amount of responsibility that is going to increase because your audience is going to increase as you take this next step, as you take this next leap. Or audience might increase, but also the impact and the depth that you will be affecting the lives of others, right? Because people tend to take what you say truly to heart. They can really feel the levels of perception that you're operating from, and they really trust you. And so I feel like you're kind of maybe intuiting, like, well, who am I? Who am I to be saying, you know, how someone should be living their life? Or who am I to be giving advice? Who am I, right? That goes along with that imposter syndrome. That's actually a gift within itself, because it's like, you are not going to abuse your power, you know? So I'm really saying you're working with, even your karmic predicament is just it's not even that heavy, right? It's just breaking through that barrier of betting on yourself and trusting yourself, right? I feel like there's a vast majority of people on our planet are trained, if you want to say trained, or it's just like part of generational karma. A lot of people don't trust themselves. A lot of people don't bank on themselves, right? You might not see that so much because you're probably someone that just tends to be surrounded by a lot of people that are entrepreneurs, that do trust themselves, that are like taking big leaps, making big moves. And so I'm getting there might be a mixture. You guys are already surrounded by so many people that are doing it that you don't understand that there are so many people that don't actually trust themselves, because you're like, I see so many people that are doing it and they're doing great. And then there's some of you too that I feel like, we have so much evidence in our lives of people just going with the flow of humanity and going with the templated life and not really expanding beyond their zone of comfort in order to achieve a life that's truly fulfilling, a life that's really on their own terms. So, as you break through this bubble and as you believe more in yourself, I feel like, that's part of the karmic clearing that you're doing for the planet. You're making it easier. You're making it more normal. It's more normal to see people living very different kind of lives, like that don't include a 9-to-5. Lives where you're traveling a lot, where you're meeting a lot of new people, where you're meeting soul family everywhere, where synchronicity is just like a daily occurrence, where you're just impacting people wherever you go. You guys have very potent, very beautiful, very powerful energy, man. Natural teachers for sure. And so if anything, it might just be like, you guys might just be the type of individual too, where people just assume these things. Like, so often I feel like people that come across very confident and that are very sure of themselves, like is what I'm getting from you guys. It's like most people will assume that you don't need reassurance, and like none of us really need reassurance, but like, come on, sometimes it's nice, especially when you're like putting your neck out there, when people are like, hey, I see you and you're doing a great job. Like, that's nice. That's really good. That's very reaffirming, right? I feel like you might be one of those people where, it comes when it's needed, when you need that little boost, when you need that little morale push from the universe. Like someone will randomly come in and say exactly what you needed to hear, exactly what you needed to hear it to be like, okay, I can keep doing this. But overall, I feel like a lot of people hold back what they actually see about you because they just assume you already know you got it going on, So we're going to tune into your highest timeline. You had 2 cards come up for your highest timeline portion. So we have the shapeshifter and we have the animal coming up. So we have some feline energy with this tiger coming through. And then we also have some canine energy with this wolf coming through. I mean, ultimately, with these energies combined, this is you trusting yourself, right? This is you trusting your gut instinct, trusting the nudges that you've been getting, even if it doesn't make sense conceptually. And with shapeshifter, I mean, this is really telling me that it's time to shapeshift into something else. Like I just heard, like Pokemon have different levels and stages. They have like their base level, then they get bigger and bigger and their powers expand. It's like you are being a little Pokemon. You're expanding into your highest, a new level, a higher form than what you're currently operating at. You guys also just might be going through a lot of activations at this time, which are just overall helping you with your message. And if it's like you might also be struggling with like, I feel like as you deepen into yourself and as your gifts expand, your message might take on a tone that is a bit different than what you are used to or what people are used to from you. It's like you're becoming more intricate and more articulate with what you are able to break down for people. And so I feel like in a way, maybe you admire other people that are in that position that are so good at breaking down the multidimensional nature of things, or you admire people that are able to do it. And I feel like you don't see that you are in those same realms, that you are able to articulate just as good as these other people that you've kind of like, placed as being better than you in some way. So I just feel like, again, you're kind of expanding into a higher version. You're opening your lens of perception even more. And so it's allowing more of you to, I just heard some of us have more advanced students. And so, naturally, when we have a certain type of audience as teachers, we will be able to speak kind of to a we kind of are naturally guided to speak. This is something that doesn't even happen, that we're not consciously doing, but we speak to where that collective is at, right? And so I'm hearing that you are being guided to express more to your advanced students, beings that are ready for your message to go to reach a deeper level of depth, if that makes sense. And students could be like whatever you're guided to do. It could be clients, it could be customers, however this applies for you. But overall, I am getting this is very entrepreneurial in nature, or, you know, even if you're not fully supported by that, by your side hustle, your business, whatever, it's like something on the side. So let's see what the tarot has to say. We have Six of Wands, we have the Hermit, we have Strength, and we have the Eight of Cups. So yeah, I mean, this is all very clear. This is, anytime I see Six of Wands come up in a reading with the Hierophant especially, it's like you have an audience. People are cheering you on. People love your message. People love what you stand for. I feel like you guys are beings that, I mean, with all this fiery energy coming through, I think you guys are very fiery. Like, you guys aren't the beings that, I feel like you don't cater what it is you see and how you see the world just so other people can feel good around you. Or that might also be part of this aspect of what you're being called to shapeshift into, is being more unapologetic about how you really see things. Because oftentimes people might think that they need to change their message or dull down their message or dim how they really feel because they're worried of coming across a certain way, coming across arrogant, coming across like mean or whatever. But I feel like ultimately, like, however, you're so in tune that you, like Spirit is just asking you to trust more that who you're being guided to be, how you're being guided to show up is exactly what people need, right? Even if it rubs some people the wrong way. With all this Leo energy coming through too, I feel like just fire energy in general, but especially Leo with Strength card here, I feel like you guys might not have a problem with that. Just being aware that, you know, if certain people do walk away from whatever it is that you're offering, that's all part of it. With this Eight of Cups energy coming through, that's all part of it, right? People are going to come in, people are going to come out. Like, as we shapeshift, as we evolve, and as we streamline ourselves to be a greater conduit to our higher codes of consciousness, it's like not all people can make that journey with us. You are an advanced being. You learn things extremely rapidly. You have come in at this time with certain veils of illusion. You've accepted certain veils, and as you remove them, you are helping more beings that come into your field of awareness do so at the same time, or you're inviting those codes into their field of awareness at the same time, even if you don't even talk about it, right? So I just getting a lot of fast moving energy. You guys are consistently like stepping up. And so I feel like this has felt like a solitary path for you much of your life with this Hermit card. And you know, this is just kind of reaffirming your highest timeline is going to feel like that. It's going to feel like these moments where you're in the limelight and everyone's here for you. You know, people are getting you, people are catching on to this message, to your message, but at the same time, it's like you are a being that, because you see more than most people, you might also feel alone. So don't take that, because this is showing up in your highest timeline, Spirit is essentially reminding you, don't take that to mean that something negative is happening or that something bad is happening when people walk away from you or when you feel kind of isolated. You know, those periods are going to ebb and flow when you feel like a super social butterfly and you're connecting with everyone. And then when, you know, when you need to take time for yourself. And I feel like maybe in the past you have had experiences where it doesn't matter who you connect with and how great you are at meeting other people where they're at. A lot of people aren't able to meet you where you're at. You are a guide. You are a high level guide. You are a very advanced soul. And so, you know, I feel like overall people are really here for what you can embody. And even though I'm just feeling a sense of like loneliness of the path, because on one hand, yeah, you gather a lot of attention wherever you go. I'm hearing that you guys like turn heads wherever you go, not just physically, but you just like hold this, like your aura is so big, people just feel you. But at the same time, I feel like you guys are the type of being that probably don't go to a lot of other people for advice, because your lens of perception tends to be more expanded than most of the people around you. And so that can feel lonely, but you know, with your highest timeline too, I'm just getting a big part of what it's going to feel like. It's going to feel blissful. You're going to see evidence in your external reality that, you know, things are catching on. Like it's going to start as a trickle and then it's going to continue to pick up. But perseverance and divine patience is a big part of this. And with Artemis selfhood coming up and the 8 of Cups, again, there's a big emphasis coming through here of knowing what's a distraction, knowing when to walk away from the distraction, and knowing when to just put a pause on it, right? If you're not sure if it's something to walk away from or not. But ultimately, I mean, really beautiful energies. I feel like this is this is just saying that you are doing a really great job already. And just because you have a little bit of imposter syndrome coming through this reading, I mean, that's not a bad thing. I feel like overall, you guys are coming across like very humble. And so if anything, I feel like you guys kind of are used to dimming down your message a little bit because you don't want to come off a certain way, like a know-it-all or a show-off or whatever. But you know, the guides are really saying that people need you in your biggest and your brightest. And when you give yourself permission to show up as your biggest, as your brightest, you are truly giving other people permission to do the same. And you know, ultimately, that's what we're here to do. As starseeds, we take on the collective karma of humanity, and as we grow through it, as we learn through it, as we transmute it, we also help the collective do the same. So you're doing a great job. If this reading resonated with you today, please give this video a thumbs up. It really helps my channel grow. Please connect with your star family in the comment section. Know that I have about 10 months to 11 months worth of tarot readings, pick a card readings, and other types of readings on my primary channel, and that's the first link in the description box. But I hope I see you guys very soon. Much love. Hey, pile 2, here's your reading. So this first row, we will be addressing what you're currently here to express and share with the world at this time on this current timeline trajectory that you find yourself on. The second row here, we will be addressing your current karmic predicament / what it is that you're helping heal in the collective of humanity. And this last row, we have what the highest timeline probability is and what that will feel like, just so you can gauge and know that you are on the right path from here on out. Remember, energies are always changing and shifting. So if this doesn't really feel like your pile, you'll know within the first 2 to 3 minutes. So let's get right into it. What you're currently here to express and share with the collective at this time. So we have I'm sorry, defenselessness, righting past wrongs, uprooting. So right away with this card, what I'm always drawn to is seeing how these are two, like I see these as being the higher selves of these individuals that are bowing to each other and apologizing to each other. So I feel like currently there's an aspect within your life or that you're finding yourself in. This might be, you know, this might be past wrongs, or this might be something that's going on now, or this might be something that even happened a while ago. But I'm just hearing that what you're currently expressing, and it's interesting because what you're expressing and what you're healing for the past 2 piles have really felt like they're within the same realms, or it's kind of like a convergence, right? It kind of all blends together. But I feel like there's an aspect that you're currently expressing and learning at this time, that you're being drawn to the higher nature of things and why they unfold. So we might just have to turn over the tarot to see, just so I can get more details of what's going on. But ultimately, I feel like there's an aspect of what you're currently expressing and sharing and learning at this time. There's an aspect that reminds you that we are all souls, and that sometimes we don't understand what, from this level, we don't always have access to the dimensions that house the codes and the understanding and the knowledge of why certain contracts were made on the earth plane, right? So sometimes it's just essential to remember, sometimes we have been really shitty to other people, and other people have been really shitty to us. And sometimes, especially earlier in incarnation, these types of things are set in place in order to catalyze a specific type of learning opportunity, right? It doesn't always, it's an invitation. It doesn't always mean that we take all the opportunities that come our way, but I'm not sure which side you guys are falling on. Let's go ahead and get into the tarot. So we have the King of Wands, we have the 8 of Wands, the Fool, the Sun, and the moon. We have the sun and the moon coming up right next to each other. So interesting. Okay, this makes sense. So I feel like you guys are in a place where there's a lot of really great things happening for you. I feel like you are in a place where you're feeling on your game. You're feeling in your king/queen energy. I feel like it's almost like you're existing within a new paradigm. Like things are moving really quickly for you. You're feeling real brand new, if I do say so. You're just feeling like the apple of everyone's eye. And it seems like you guys are the type of beings that you shine so bright, and you also move through things so quickly that it can cause a lot of unrest in the souls of other people. So I was really picking up on this with this oracle card. It's like what you're currently expressing and through just like what you're embodying. You might not be verbalizing this to other people, but you are showing people what it means to be living a life of flow. And in a life of flow, man, things can change extremely rapidly. And it's like you're in one relationship one day, you're infatuated with someone one day, and then it's like the next week, it's like gone, it's over and done with. So I feel like you're so bright and you're so vast and you're so expansive that it's like when you are working with people, even in a platonic way, or when you meet new friends, or when you are in a romantic partnership, whatever it is, it's like you are so bright and you are so connected to your higher codes of consciousness that other people get really attached to you. You know, it's not even a you thing. It's like you're just so connected to your higher self. I feel like more so than many people, like you are very rare. Like many people don't come across someone like you with this energy that is coming up. Like with this, you have 3 major arcana coming up here. I mean, and then you have a court card coming up out of these 5 cards, very powerful energies. Even the 8 of Wands is extremely powerful. Like you're very fast moving. You're just on to the next thing, on to the next thing. So I feel like a big part of what you're here to express at this time, and this is probably like an incarnational thing as well. I feel like you just show people that there's like, it's not personal, right? It's nothing personal. And God, I hate being the one to say that. With this King of Wands energy, I feel like it's less of with the Knight of Wands, I feel more, and even the Page of Wands, it can feel more of like F-boy vibes, F-girl vibes, or like it can almost seem, depending on the position and what other cards are around it, it can almost seem like careless. And even for a fire card, it can seem very cold and like dissociated. But just based off the other cards that are surrounding it, I just feel like you guys are very warm. And what is that noise? I have no idea what's happening. I feel like you guys are very gentle with how you go about it, or I feel like people just get confused because it's like you move on so quickly, or you're just so quick moving and you have so many connections. And so I feel like on one hand, it's almost like people want to be mad at you because you open up a level of depth within them that they don't experience very often, but it's like they can't. You know, it's like this weird energy that I'm getting of they want to be mad at you, but it's like you did nothing wrong. And I feel like you kind of prepare people, like people know what they're getting themselves into with you, right? And I feel like you're very open about just how you see life and how you navigate life. And so it's like, still, I'm just getting like, y'all are some heartbreakers. That's just what I'm getting from this pile. Like y'all are out here just like making people fall in love with you and then just like breaking hearts left and right. But I think this is like not just about lovers too, but just maybe like organizations or jobs. It's like you guys get bored really easily. It's like on to the next thing, on to the next thing. And it doesn't really feel like it's a distraction because these are all in an upright. So it's like, it's coming from a very empowered place. I just feel like you guys are just, you know, like kind of even bleeding over from the first pile. So if you were drawn to that, there might be something there for you, but if not, then don't. But it's like you guys are consistently up leveling. And I feel like maybe even sometimes you don't see how much people fall in love with you and how deeply you actually do affect people's lives, because this is just normal for you, right? It's like, but you've never met someone like you. So maybe you've gotten glimpses here and there, but I feel like you just are just different. You're very rare. People don't come across people like you very often. So it's interesting because it's not even like you're not in the wrong, but I feel like if anything, it's just like, maybe this is just bringing some awareness into the fact that this is, when you leave someone's life, they really feel it. Okay, I'm gonna move on. So karmic challenge at this time, or what you're currently helping heal for the collective, we have Hestia, hearth home. Okay. So I am going to turn over the tarot right away, but I just want to say, I feel like in a way, this is almost saying, from the imagery that's coming through, like protecting your light, or just learning how to be a bit better in controlling and channeling your energy, and who gets that energy, who gets access to that, because I feel like you guys are just such an open social butterfly, and someone that is like very much so like has a lot of contacts and is connecting with a lot of people. This is like protecting your flame, protecting your energy, and also knowing that, you know, people might have some things to say about what it is and how you're showing up, and understanding that that is more of a reflection of them and where they're at and their belief systems. Again, it doesn't mean that we, you know, intentionally go around making people feel certain types of way, but at the same time, it's like you're just being you. You're just providing the necessary reflections that you are here for, and ultimately understanding and helping people to see these contracts from the level of the soul, because nothing really is personal, right? Nothing at the end of the day is personal. We can't change when we feel really passionate about something or someone. We can't change that. We don't have control from this level. All we can do is surrender to what that is here to teach us, the energy that's here to reveal to us, the lessons, the avenues that's guiding us towards. Like, we don't know from this level. And so I feel like that is one of your challenges, and also at the same time something that you are here to help. Obviously it's one of your challenges, and it's through you coming to terms with that and being okay with that, you are also helping other people as well. And even if you're not talking to them, like, you guys might not even be in a place, like, these beings aren't even looking at each other. So this just might be more of an energetic type of thing, an energetic sending love to this individual, sending love to these people, or, you know, people that have been defensive towards you and that have like, was hard for them to let go of you, like sending them love energetically. And by you holding true, and by you holding and understanding and knowing internally the higher nature of things and the metaphysics of things, you're also helping them to transcend too. Your soul, quantum physics shows us that once two beings come into contact, or two entities, like, you're forever entangled. And so what one being does from then on is affecting in a really subtle way these other beings, right? And these other things and elements you've come into contact with. So I'm just getting the sense of like protecting your flame, protecting your fire, just being mindful of who actually is worthy of deserving like this beautiful, bright energy that you bring into the lives of others. Let's get a little bit deeper with the tarot. We have the Hanged Man coming up. Okay, so, and the Devil. The Hanged Man is already confirming that energy of just being more mindful, right? We have the Two of Swords. We have the Five of Cups. And we have the 10 of Swords in a reverse position. So yeah, I feel like when people come into contact with you, you really flip their world upside down. And I feel like the people that fall in love with you get really entangled with you and very borderline obsessive with you pretty instantaneously. I feel like too, for some of you, it seems like part of this karmic clearing is you help in some way people develop a different relationship to modern day relationships in general. Because I am hearing something that has to do with like, there's no judgment, but I just am hearing like, I'm feeling something about like home wrecking or something. Like, there's something about you guys that makes even the most devout person like curious about you. So people that are even in situations that are much more like traditional, and maybe this is something that's been in the past too, maybe this is a past, because we do have writing past wrong. So maybe you guys are holding on to something that has happened in the past where like you were someone, oh my God, yeah, because we have hearth and home. Like you were someone that was like the other person or the third party, or you were in a situation where there was a third party coming in and you were like in a more traditional monogamous kind of exclusive thing, and someone came in and disturbed it, or again, roles can be reversed. But there is something here about part of these lessons and part of these things of, you know, maybe having a wandering eye, or maybe being like a temptress in some way. I feel like it's just giving people an opportunity to see these types of relationships in a different light. And again, it's like you are helping, what you're helping to heal here is what, no matter what end of the spectrum you've been on, I feel like I'm talking to beings that have probably been on both ends of the spectrum. It's like, I feel like, you know, part of the heaviest type of karmic clearing that we have to do in this incarnation tends to revolve around romantic partners and how we treat them and how we feel within those things. And, you know, all of the emotions, all of the jealousy, the envy, the insecurities, the obsessive nature, all of that comes along with those give us the biggest opportunity for deep clearing. You know, so one of the things, for example, one of the most transcendent experiences that I had around infidelity was when my daughter was 8 months old and there was some infidelity involved with her father. And I didn't, you know, found out about it. And one of the biggest gifts, long story short, was I was begging my guides. I was like, please show me the higher perspective, because I understood that higher perspectives help set you free, right? The more you expand your levels of perception, the more you're thinking not just about your lifetime, your individual incarnation, but you're seeing the bigger picture. You're seeing how this was a soul contract meant to teach you guys a certain lesson, a very specific lesson. So the lesson that came through that I've carried for all of these years after that's happened is you never know what someone else needs to experience on their journey. You never know what someone's lessons are, right? And so holding that kind of unconditional love about those types of experiences, right? Removing our sense of negative ego from it, removing our attachment, removing our self from it, and seeing like this is just another soul doing the best that they can, right? And understanding that a lot of the time when things go awry, or a lot of the time when these types of things happen, and just how anyone reacts to us or responds to us or is towards us never has anything to do. Like a lot of the time it has very little to do with you. Like I was just talking to some friends about this. It's funny when someone triggers you, or when you're like in these intimate relationships, because it's like, well, like I don't, like, do we even bring it up to the other person? Because it's like, I know, like, you seem to be the reason why this is happening. You seem to be the reason why this trigger is happening, but I know it's my work. I know it's my stuff. So it's not you, but it is you, but it's not, but it is at the same time. You know what I mean? So I feel like that's kind of just like what you are currently learning and experiencing and helping to heal for the collective, which is, you know, I'm not surprised we have the devil coming up, because this is definitely one of the biggest learning curves and learning hurdles for most people. It's like the Hanged Man, again, removing yourself from it, seeing it from a different lens, seeing these types of relationships from a different lens of perception. So whether, you know, there's some sort of infidelity happening at this time, or there's something really deeply karmic happening within your intimate relationships, your friendships, whatever it is, right? I just use that example of infidelity, etc., just because that's, I mean, that's kind of the energy that's coming up here. Like, but this might just be like feeling betrayed by a friend, or feeling betrayed by like people that are close to you, or them feeling that way towards you. And so you're giving them the opportunity to heal this as well. Again, with the Two of Swords coming up, it's like, and the Five of Cups, it's like, you know, choosing where you're investing your energy in. This seems like right now it's definitely an equal give and take of something external has triggered an internal kind of level of just like feeling stabbed in all areas that hurt, stabbed in the back, stabbed in the heart, everything, right? That has just really, I feel like, kind of tested or tested someone. Maybe it might not even be yours, because you are showing up in this very powerful energy. So, you know, I am just getting that there's some conventions here that are currently being asked to be explored that might not be in alignment for you. So if you kind of know that you're very, outgoing, very social, very open, for example, and you have a wandering eye and, modern day monogamous relationships aren't for you, just using this as an example because I can relate to this, so it's easy for me to explain, then maybe it's time to look into a different way of doing it that looks a little bit different. That might seem a little bit uncomfortable at first, and that people might be like, that's kind of weird or that's different, but it works for you, right? And in so doing, you're giving other people permission to break traditions and break out of these constructs that we build around ourselves that feed the ego and not necessarily feed the soul, So let's get a little bit deeper into what your highest timeline is in terms of this energy that's coming through. So we do have the Mystic. So, I was really getting this very free-spirited energy from you guys. It might just be hard in general, again, for people to just understand you and how you operate. I feel like you guys have the best of intentions, and sometimes it's not always perceived through that lens of perception from other people. You guys are definitely the group that sees more from the spiritual eye and not necessarily from what's happening on this third dimensional plane of existence. And so, yeah, not a lot of people are there yet, honey. So let's see what else we have. We have the Seven of Wands and we have the Four of Pentacles. So there is a lot that is really telling me that I feel like that there is something in the home, that this has something to do with family with this card, and something to do with holding tightly onto paradigms and realities that don't necessarily support us. So, and this might just be, again, because it was righting past wrongs and uprooting. It was the first type of energy that came up. Maybe there's a level of guilt that you're holding now that you've expanded your own level of perception. Maybe you were someone that showed up as the heartbreaker, and you knew it. You knew how how quickly people fell in love with you, and you kind of used it to your advantage. But now you've grown and you are seeing things more clearly, and it's you don't want to do that anymore. And so it's understanding that you letting yourself off the hook, right? Going through that alchemical kind of clearing of understanding that you were probably brought up in a system and told that there's a certain way to show up in these types of relationships, even though your soul's blueprint said something else. And so it's you weren't doing these things on purpose. It's just you just have a different template. You just have a different blueprint. And so, of course, as you're exploring and just trying to do your best to fit this mold, it's not going to work. And so there's going to be that dissonance that is there inevitably. So with the Seven of Wands and Four of Pentacles coming up, I feel like this is just staying true to you, staying true to what feels right to you, and letting go of those more traditional paradigms that may not be the best reflection of you, and understanding too that, if there's any guilt is one of the lowest vibrational frequencies that we can embody. And so it actually doesn't serve anyone, and it actually keeps you tethered to those ways of being and those versions of self that you are wanting to break free of. I feel like you already are there, because you're shining so bright. When, with this Sun card, it's the brighter the light, the bigger the shadow that's cast. And so it's as you are stepping more into beautiful paradigms and feeling more in flow and connected, I feel like there's a part of you that feels guilty, you don't deserve it because of A, B, C, D, something that happened in the past, So your highest timeline will definitely feel like you embodying everything that was coming through in this top row here. However, there's also an understanding of what's happening on a soul level, what this was here to teach you, what this was here to teach these other people. And it's less apologies, being less guilty, not being guilty, releasing your guilt, and just being firm in who you are and understanding what you came here to do, understanding what you came here to embody. You are a mystic. Not many people are going to understand you, how you operate, why you operate. And that's, there is an opportunity, there's an invitation for them to do that through your expression, but ultimately that's not your job, right? That's not your responsibility, but the invitation is there just through you, just through what you embody, because I feel like, ultimately a lot of people want to get to know you on a deep level, but at the same time, I feel like people are hesitant to open up, not just emotionally, romantically, but on a friendship wise, it's some people, of course, this is not across the board, but I just feel like some people are like, wow, this person, like this person is so great. If they left my life, like I would really feel the loss of that. And so, you know, understanding that that's not on you, right? And you're showing people how to live in flow. You're showing people how to live in harmony. You're showing people what it means to be consistently upgrading and up leveling. And again, ultimately your biggest expression in this part of your timeline, and what you're currently giving people permission to see and yourself permission to see, what you're helping to heal, is that nothing is personal, right? We don't control these things, these urges, or I shouldn't even say urges so much as like these inspirations and these nudges. Like we don't flip those switches from this level. We never have and we never will, but they're all being given. I believe they're all here to give us permission to break out of our constructs and break out of self-constraints and limiting beliefs and limiting behaviors, etc. So I hope this brought you guys some confirmation that you needed. Beautiful energies, right? There's a lot you're working with. This is a big karmic knot. So, you know, if it's felt heavy, or if you're feeling these, you know, past guilts coming up and whatever, just that's part of it, right? Uprooting. It's part of the purge, part of the process. So be kind to yourself. If this video resonated, please give it a thumbs up. It helps my channel grow. Leave a comment in the comment section, and just note that if you're new to my channel and you didn't come here from my other channel, just know that I have about 10 to 11 months worth of tarot readings, pick a cards, and other types of tarot readings on my other channel. I will link a playlist, that playlist down below, but this is my official channel just for my divination. So I hope I see you guys soon. Much love. What's up, pile number 3? If this is how you chose, this is your reading. I don't know how to start those off, so that's how it's gonna go for now. It's gonna be weird and awkward. So this is currently, we're addressing your current timeline that you're on. So 3 aspects for today's readings, using Oracle and Tarot, and I haven't looked at your cards yet. We're gonna do that together real time. We are addressing what it is that you're currently here to share and express with the world at this time. Second part is we will be addressing what the current karmic predicament / challenge is that you are helping to heal for the collective of humanity. And the last thing is your current, like what your highest timeline is going to feel like. I just forgot to light my incense, you guys, so I'm going to do that right now. So yeah, number 3 is your current timeline and what that's going to feel like your highest timeline in regards to the energies that you're currently working with. So again, energies are always changing. So if the first like 2 to 3 minutes of this doesn't feel relevant to you, then press skip or like come back to this at a later date. Okay, so let's address what you're currently healing and expressing. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let us get into what you are here to express and share at this time. So your oracle is Child of the Cosmos. Yes, the intelligence of the universe lies within you. Let's just bask in this. Like, I feel like you don't even need me to talk in terms of like what you're here to currently share and express. I freaking knew this was going to come up in one of these piles, man. So before I even get into the tarot, what I'm getting from this is you guys are just here to embody what it means to be in a state of ultimate surrender and absolute flow with life. I feel like you guys are in a place, you guys might be going through your Saturn's return, honestly, because I just noticed that Saturn was up here. And that's kind of like what Saturn return energy does, or what a Saturn return does. And even if you're not going through your Saturn's return, I feel like ultimately you just might be going through a period where you're just kind of giving it up. Like you're just like, maybe so much has like crumbled around you and you're just shifting so much and going through so many activations and upgrades that you don't know who the F you are anymore. Like a different person, not just every year, but like every month kind of leveling up is what I'm getting. So wow, kind of a similar theme within all piles, but I guess I am working with like I'm working with some starseeds, right? These are messages mainly for starseeds, and starseeds tend to advance very quickly. You guys have come from planets and dimensions where you've kind of already done what humanity is going through. You've already done that kind of upgrading alchemical process, and you hold that within your auric field. You guys are just very, very, very good, at least at this time, at showing through example that you can live a life of flow, that you can live a life of surrender and ultimate trust in the divine. Very heart activated. This card always shows me or reminds me of the heart chakra and just being a very good bridge between heaven and earth. So you guys might be very good manifestors and very good at drawing higher ideals and taking insights and taking inspiration and actually grounding that onto the planet. So yeah, your bridges between these higher codes, and not just on a visceral, like not just on a tangible level, but people can feel, and you feel that you are really tuned into higher dimensional ways of existing and ways of understanding. You guys are very surrendered. You're very aware. You're very activated. You're very powerful. And so let's get a little bit more detail. So we have the 5 of Wands coming up. We have the High Priestess coming up. And we have Death. So what you're currently here to share and express. So I'm ultimately hearing that, I feel like you guys show that no one can compete with you and that there's no competition anyways, because the High Priestess and the Child of the Cosmos just reminds me of someone that is tuned into their soul's blueprint and really what it is that they came here to do and who it is they came here to be. So you really do show people that when you are in alignment with that, that competition is obsolete, competition does not exist. And that for people to try to compare themselves to you or compete with you is just, it's a dead end, right? I just feel like you guys have this energy of just like, no one can touch you. Also, what you're here to share and express at this time, I feel like with this Child of the Cosmos and the intelligence of the universe lies within you, I feel like where most people will kind of grapple and kind of toil over like what to do in life, or when should I end something, or when should I start something, it's like you really show people that you don't need external cues in order to end something that needs to end or to begin a new cycle. Right? I feel like you're showing people that if it just doesn't feel right to continue something, that's all you need to know, and that you can move on and you can learn to trust yourself. I feel like you really are here to share and express and show people how to truly trust themselves and trust the cycles, trust when things are ending. The High Priestess sits between the BJ, the B and the J. God, I'm 5 years old internally always. The B and the J represents, I forget what language it is, but they just represent ending, like a beginning, a new cycle, and an ending. I'm not sure which one represents which, but the High Priestess sits between the beginning and the ending. So I feel like in general, this is what I'm really extracting from this is where most people would toil with themselves. It's like you are so tuned in to things that there's no grappling. When something is it's time to move on or it's time to end something. So there also might be something occurring in your life right now that you are indeed walking away from, and so you're giving people a real-time example of this, of like, look, I'm not gonna sit around and play these petty ass games. Like, clearly when things aren't harmonic and working in harmony, like, I'm not going to stand around for that. I know I'm so much bigger than this. I know I'm so much greater than this. Also, I just realized that her crown and this kind of remind me of the same. They kind of look the same, right? Like it's a darker blue on the outside and it's really bright on the inside. So yeah, I was getting the sense that your third eye was very active, and your higher chakras in general are fucking blown wide open, man. So I feel like there might be something in your life right now that is actually giving this example. Like, you're like, I'm not going to stand around and toil with petty shit. Like, that you're here for something so much bigger, and that you know that this incarnation is not like, you're not here to fuck around, man. It's just what I'm trying to get out. Like, you are here for business. Like, you are a child of the cosmos. You are a servant of the highest. And I feel like ultimately people feel that from you. And I feel like you're entering, like, you've gone through some sort of activation or some sort of it's almost like, I feel like with the Saturn energy that I picked up on in the beginning and this 5 of Wands, you might have reached a point of epic frustration, or like you kind of snapped and you're like, all right, I'm just tired of existing this way. I'm tired of playing small. I'm tired of accommodating other people's pettiness and other people's paradigms that are not serving. Like, I'm tired of accommodating paradigms that I know are not serving myself and others. And so you're a direct example of what it means to live in alignment with that, right? And to not take things personally, not to make it mean anything personal. You're just going where you're guided, right? So I want to get deeper. I want to see what your current karmic predicament is. You had 2 oracles and 1 tarot come up for this. So we have Lilith, power, and we have Sophia, wisdom. Interesting, and very interesting, because I believe in the Bible, Lilith and Sophia kind of embody very opposite energies. I mean, Sophia is like this bright white light, right? And Lilith was known, like, she's known to be this very kind of, she's very in tune with her shadow. It's actually one of my favorite goddess archetypes, because she's so primal. She's so in tune with herself. So let's see what the tarot has to say. The Hermit. Okay, all right. So it kind of confirming what I was just getting at. I feel like this state that you are in, like the Hermit is a being that is alone. He's standing alone at the top of the mountain, right? But it's a very narrow path for the Hermit. The path feels very narrow, and the path is alone. Like, the Hermit is known to be a solitary individual. And so this path, your karmic predicament, what you're here to learn and heal, again with that Saturn energy coming up. I can't stop looking at that Saturn on this card. You know, this teaches us that in order, this is about to be real self-helpy, but like, it's so true. When your reality crumbles and when cycles end, it's just making way for things that are much more relevant for where you're at. So your current challenge might be because, I mean, you are such an advanced creature, you probably just felt very alone. And maybe you found yourself in a place where you started feeling like you were fitting in somewhere, and feeling like people could handle your power. And maybe it's just like people started getting really competitive with you, or just kind of like low-key closet haters or something. And so you're like, all right, gotta walk away again. Like, another cycle is ending. But again, with that Saturn return energy that I was picking up on, it's like you just might be going through the part of your journey where those old chapters are closing very rapidly. But just as rapidly as, you know, as you stay tuned in to this universal intelligence, man, it's like just as rapidly, new things, new paradigms, your new paradigm is going to flood in. And it's going to reflect the levels at which you are operating. Because for Sophia to come up with wisdom, or for the wisdom of Sophia card to come up in your karmic predicament, in your current challenge, it's like, man, I'm noticing some bleeding through of these different piles. But I feel like for you, it's just, you are so powerful. Like, you are so tuned in and so tapped in that it kind of intimidates people. And it kind of like, even your closest friends, sometimes you might feel the sense of like, you can tell that you're triggering them, or you can tell that like part of your dynamic is here to trigger these like weak spots in one another, and to not make it ultimately about the other person, right? To remain in your power regardless if your expression is triggering insecurities in other people, because you're just allowing people to see where they're outsourcing their power, right? That insecurity is just there to tell you where there is less security in your connection to your higher self and in connection to your truth, right? So because we have death coming up, and this is very clear, like an ending of a paradigm based off intuition coming up in what you're currently learning and expressing and sharing with the world. And then your karmic predicament is like the Hermit. I feel like this is just part of what you're here to help humanity see at this time, is really taking space to hone in and to reconnect to yourself, reconnect to your own truth, reconnect to your own sense of power and what brings you there. Also, what's coming through is the example of Lilith. Like, she was a being that she refused to lay beneath Adam. She was actually technically, in some texts, she was Adam's first wife, and she refused to lay beneath him. And that is kind of why he separated, why they like didn't work out. Really making this modern day Bible readings with Marissa. So they didn't work out because she was like, no, hell no, I'm not about to submit myself to you because I'm a goddess. And so supposedly Adam went and found someone that would submit to him and lie beneath him. But Lilith is known as someone that would rebel against things that did not feel in alignment with her, that to the core of her, right? And so it's like this paradox. I feel like part of your predicament is that to some people, you're going to come across as a saint. And to some people, this change is you're going to come across as a sinner. You can't win, especially during these Saturn return types of energies. It's like you cannot win. Like, people are going to use your expression as whatever reflection they need. That's part of being an advanced soul in general. Like, you kind of transcend the realms of, you become much more of a mirror for whatever other people need. And not so much so, because I feel like especially you guys are not ultimately attached to your role. You kind of have this understanding that this is just a small part in a small blip in time that we're here on the planet for. And you guys get that, I feel. So yeah, I just noticed too that Lilith was like turning into a snake. She's like half snake, half woman. So this also, I'm just getting like snaky kind of energy. Like, you just might feel like, just kind of over it. I'm just getting that you're over it and you're like, I'm not succumbing to this petty ass shit anymore. Like, I'm done. And understanding too that is you, like, you are still embodying divine wisdom, right? You're still embodying the codes of grace and enlightenment. Yeah, Sophia also has a crescent moon, I'm noticing, on her womb. So it's like you might just be resisting a little bit with this karmic predicament. No, even though you guys are so tuned in, I feel like it might be hard for you to see better, like to see that you can attract better, and that better it will come. Because maybe it was so good wherever you were, you're like, fuck, like where do I go from here kind of thing. But I'm hearing you can't see, and that's part of what's deepening you into this being a child of the cosmos, is really giving it all up, like really giving it all up. Being in tune with your instincts with Lilith and power. And seeing how that doesn't ultimately conflict with divine wisdom, higher wisdom. Because I feel like you guys have reached a level of purification, because the snake does remind me of the Kundalini and purification, and with this beautiful energy, like this reminds me of a light body, and this kind of reminds me of what happens, the ancient images of ascended masters. They have their crown, their head is very illuminated, and that just represents an enlightened being. So I feel like this is saying that you can be both. You can appear to be the villain to people while at the same time being a very enlightened being, like showing up as this mirror type of energy. Like, okay, so non-duality. You guys are really learning non-duality. And the more time you take to really meditate on these concepts, the more free you will feel in your decisions, in this understanding how the role that you are here to play for people at this time. And that it's ultimately has nothing really to do with you, but again, you are of service. You are a high-level guide for other people. Yeah, you guys really stand out, for sure. And in many ways, even like physically, I feel like you guys are also very physically attractive. Some of y'all might even have some tattoos and some like just dress really well and just like are very beautiful. If you're male, very handsome, like you just attract a lot of attention too. Yeah, people have ideas about you, that's for sure. And I think a big part of this karmic clearing is not taking those ideas personally, whether they're good or bad. Like again, non-dualities came through, like transcendence, transcending those realms of duality. yeah, it's going to feel like a solitary path. Being okay with it feeling like a solitary path. Because you'll meet reflections along the way. I'm sure you guys already have, of like soul family that gets it and that are operating within similar realms as you. But you know, the deeper, the longer, just the more you become, the more you become a clear channel to your higher self, the less even your most awakened, wokest people, the less even they will understand the intricacies, just because you see so much. You see so many multidimensional dynamics of things. Very intricate. Like you could never possibly explain. Like when people ask you, oh, how are you like interpreting this thing or this relationship or something? It's like you can't even begin to break it down because you just see so much. You just have access to so many levels that most people don't. And so you're like, you know, it's going good. It's complex. No matter how complex, you're just like, it's good. It's fine. It's going somewhere. Okay, let's get deeper. What is your highest timeline from here? What does that look and feel like? We have the riddle and we have the flame. Wow, I love it. Okay, so I just want to show you guys this up close. So the flame always reminds me of the hermit. I mean, these go hand in hand, right? The flame reminds me of illuminating darkness, illuminating areas that are hard for other people to see. And with the riddle, honestly reminds me of what a Saturn return is. And it's like, the less you try to logic and reason, the more enjoyable it's going to be. So you guys just might be going through a profound type of activation in general, where it's really asking you to get out of your head and to really tune into your intuition, and really relying on the right brain part of things that knows that we can never fully understand from this level, but you can trust, and in so trusting, you're enjoying the ride more. Again, that also, the riddle reminds me of those realms of non-duality, of transcendence. It's like the highest truths are paradoxical in nature, at least on this plane of existence, right? So you know you're kind of hitting the money, hitting the right mark of things when they start to make less sense. Also, a beloved teacher in the past once said that confusion is the gateway to clarity. So if you're in a place of feeling these very conflicting, paradoxical types of energies, and you're feeling very confused about why things are happening and everything, it's like that means that you are on the brink of an incredible breakthrough. So let's see what the tarot has to say too. We have the Empress, we have Strength, and we have the Wheel of Fortune. So we have 3 major arcanas coming up. So what your highest timeline is going to feel like, it's going to feel like you're not going to know you won't ever be able to fully express to people the levels that you're operating at, right? You make a really good teacher generally. I feel like you're someone that people probably go to advice for, but it's like you're just going to feel like you're sitting on your power. You're sitting on your throne. Things are just working out for you. This is this is the female aspect of things. So things are just coming to you, the right person at the right time, the right place. You're just drawing people in with like this flame. Like you're just drawing in what you need when you need it. And it's allowing you to release your need to know things before they happen even more, because you're seeing real time how, wow, things are just working out for me. I don't know why, I don't know what, but it's like the more you surrender into this energy of non-duality and of transcendence, and ultimately, again, what I just mean by that is you're not making things mean anything. And if you're going to make things mean anything, let it be something positive, because ultimately it is, right? Like these endings, these changes, these transitions, how people see you, it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean shit, right? And so you're deepening into that, and that's going to help set you free even more, which is the intention of Saturn returns. That's the intention of Dark Nights of the Soul. It's all here to set you free. So I'm hearing perseverance, and I'm also hearing that the fates are on your side. Wheel of Fortune also just reminds me of divine timing. So if there's like something that you've been anticipating, or if there's like a relationship, or there's like good things that you've been intuiting that you're like, why aren't they here yet? Like they're on their way. They are a lot closer than you think. A big part of like this timeline that you're on is just like perseverance, and people are learning so much through that. Just like having faith, having an understanding that it will happen when it's meant to. Again, this woman taming the beast is like taming the monkey mind and taming the aspects of you that are uncomfortable with surrender. There's also, I'm being drawn to how much yellow is popping through all of the images today. Like the yellow is really standing out within these. So this is like a strengthening of your belief in self, ultimately. Belief in your personality self. Like true confidence comes into play when the belief in your smaller self is in alignment with the belief in your higher will, your higher aspect. So I feel like too that's what I'm getting with the strength card, like surrendering your lower will to the higher aspect. And the infinity sign represents divinity, so to your higher divine self. So your highest timeline is probably going to feel like it doesn't make any sense, or like you are out of control, but in a really positive way, in a really good way. Everything that you need is being drawn into you, new people, new relationships, new friends, etc. People that really get you and that are really here for you. And again, it's just reminding you, like the Wheel of Fortune reminds us, these beings that were once at the bottom, like they were once at the top, and vice versa. The beings that are at the top were once at the bottom. Like fate is always spinning. And so one of the ways that we kind of transcend that realm of karma, and that we release ourselves from that the wheel of samsara, is by understanding that we don't always know. Something really good can lead to something unfortunate. Something unfortunate can lead into something really good. So it's, again, just about going with the flow, surrendering. But ultimately, even, not to put like bad vibes or like scary vibes that something wrong is going to happen if you're feeling on top of the world, but it's just saying that no matter what happens externally, you're going to feel good. That's how you know you're on your highest timeline. When things fall apart, when people don't get you, when people misperceive your best of intentions, all of these endings are making space, man. And you don't need to explain yourself to anyone. You don't need to like lower yourself to anyone's understanding, because that's feeding illusion, and that's not feeding anyone. That's not feeding anyone's higher self, or that's not helping to set anyone free when you're accommodating to their negative ego, to their limited ego. So yeah, I hope this brought you guys something. I hope you guys took away something from this. Good things in store for you. I mean, beautiful energies. If this did resonate, please give it a thumbs up. Please know that also I have about 10 to 11 months of tarot readings. If you're new to my content, I have about 11 months worth of tarot readings on my primary channel, my old channel. I have that linked as the first link in my description box. So if you want to dabble in a little bit more, go over there. Otherwise, please subscribe, please comment down below. It all helps my channel grow. And thank you for being here. I hope I see you soon. All right, what is up, pile 4? This is your guys' reading for your starseed mission, your current timeline. So 3 aspects today. The first aspect we're going to dive into is what you're currently here to share and impart to the planet at this time. Next thing is karmic predicaments. So any type of challenges that you are navigating that is also helping to shift and aid and help the ascension of the planet at this time. And lastly, we will be diving into what your highest timeline trajectory from with all these energies, what that might feel like and look like, and internally, externally, etc. So just remember, energies are always shifting and sifting. So these are timeless, and just keep in mind that if the first 2 to 3 minutes doesn't resonate, then this might not be your pile. So let's get into this. Have not looked at any of your cards yet, using a combination of different oracles and tarot cards. I've reshuffled the tarot cards for every deck. I don't know why it feels like I need to break this down to you guys to let you guys know what's up. So first card, what are you guys currently expressing and sharing at this time? The blue flame, spontaneous awakening, activation, integration time. God, I almost said, God damn, you know what I mean? Okay. Sorry, I'm on a high from all of the other beautiful energies that were coming through. So, excuse me, pardon me. So overall, I'm getting that this probably feels like a very positive activation from you. I mean, as I was shuffling your guys' tarot, a lot of as I was shuffling, I had multiple cards flip over that were, I saw 5 major arcana cards flip over as I was shuffling. So I was like, dang, there's some powerful energies that are wanting to come through. They didn't pop out, but they were popping over. And so I made a mental note of that, which makes sense. I feel like you guys are welcoming in and experiencing high level activations at this time. You just probably feel and we'll get more details with the tarot as we go, but You know, with activations, it's this weird dichotomy of feeling like on cloud nine, so many insights are coming through. You're feeling so good internally. And so I wouldn't be surprised if you feel like you are called to do a bajillion things at once. Like, they're very high energy. It's almost, I could see how people might mistake like a manic episode for an activation, just because over here in the West, we don't have proper terms and proper containers to support spirituality like they do over in the East, right? It's like when someone has a psychotic break, over there, it's seen as an awakening experience. It's seen for what it is, versus when that happens over here, people are sent to like psych wards, right? So I feel like you guys might just be feeling extremely happy and blissed out of your mind and very in tune with the higher aspects of yourself. I am seeing like multiple, like it almost looks like I'm like double vision coming through here. So your clairvoyance skills might be like higher at this time or more on point. Your psychic abilities in general, you guys might be feeling your guides, like feeling closer to your guides, having much more access and clear communication to your guides. But in general, it just feels like really good. Awakenings feel really good because you're I couldn't have said that more like unexcited, right? Awakenings feel good. They feel great. Awakenings feel freaking bomb.com because you're expanding your lens of perception to include more of the nature of reality, and that feels good, right? That's when you're starting to transcend duality and to really just be self-sourced. You're not outsourcing your bliss, your excitement, your love, your contentment from outside so much as you are really feeling what it means to be self-sourced. So let's see what else you guys are going through. The Emperor coming up. More details is the Seven of Wands. We also have the Six of Cups, and we have the Wheel of Fortune. So out of all the major arcana that flipped over as I was shuffling, I had not seen these ones either. So kind of confirms the powerful energies that are coming through. I mean, you guys are feeling like you are completely on your game. You guys are feeling like nothing can really mess with you. Nothing can come close to you. You're in your power. What is he holding here? I'm seeing this as he's holding a compass in one hand and a staff in another. So that might not be what he's holding, but ultimately that's what I'm seeing. So I'm going to take it as it is and say that I feel like you guys are in a place where you're navigating your external reality very well. I mean, you're staking your claim on who you are as well. Like, I feel like people are in a place where even if they wanted to mess with you, you couldn't. Like they couldn't. I mean, you were in your own realm at this time. You were far above where most people are. And this is not even like in a hierarchy kind of way. It's like, what I love about activations so much is no matter how sensitive you tend to be and empathic and psychic, when you're going through an activation, it's like your auric field becomes pretty much impenetrable because your guides and what's happening, the nature of it is, it's like you're being created like this protective sheath. So these external things can't really impact the activations that are meant for you. It's almost like divine protection. Like, you know, the Wheel of Fortune kind of reminds us of divine timing and how if something's meant to be, it's going to happen. And so kind of the same thing with activations. It's like you're going through activations and they're divinely protected at the same time. So outside influences can't penetrate your field and you're just like, come at me, bro. Like, just try me, please. Maybe not in like that kind of way, but you know what I mean. Wands energy in general, 7 and 5 reminds me of competition, or just like being so comfortable and confident in who you are that, you know, people don't even try to mess with you. And that's just kind of the vibe that I'm getting. And also too, with activations, we call in soul family. The more that we know ourselves and embody more of our higher states of codes, our higher codes of consciousness, we naturally call in reflections and soul family. So Six of Cups can talk about nostalgia. Six of Cups can talk about like seeing someone that you haven't seen in a long time. And generally, I do associate that with like past life connections. So you guys might be calling in more star family at this time, or people that just get it. You might also be recognizing the nature of certain soul contracts at this time. Like, things just make a lot of sense, like why things have happened, or, you know, areas that once felt a little bit confusing and like you didn't understand why those things were happening. I'm hearing along with these activations, things in your past are starting to make sense, like why things had to go that they did, like the way that they did, why certain relationships had to end, why certain like things just had to play out the way that they did. I'm hearing it starting to make more sense for you, and if not right now, that it will very soon. So overall, yeah, you know, Wheel of Fortune and this activation, spontaneous awakening, these are things that, depending on who you ask, like, there are many beings that say you cannot force an awakening. I know Ram Dass was one of those beings. There's many beings that say no matter how hard you try, you can't force grace, right? You cannot force an awakening. You can't force yourself to know things that you're not ready to know. So this is pretty much confirming that you guys are just at a state, an activation that is divinely orchestrated, that you are meant to be going through everything that you're going through right now. And it might even feel out of control at sometimes, like your hands are completely off the wheel, and it's because the divine is guiding things for you at this time. So I feel like you guys should know by now if this sounds like you. It sounds pretty epic. It just sounds like you guys are, you know, baller status, and wouldn't be surprised if there's like entrepreneurs in this or people that are really just a cut above the rest. Like, you guys really know what you're here for, and I feel like you guys already did, but I'm just sensing you're shifting into an even deeper conviction of who you are, which, like, you're deepening into yourself, but you're also going beyond yourself at the same time. Like, you're really merging your lower aspect even more with your higher self. And so, yeah, just like, this is one of the most peaceful and just like beautiful cards. I feel like in the Cups family especially, it just is like things are going good. You feel content. You feel like everything's unfolding so divinely. And as you look around, I feel like this is almost the card for me is like rose tinted glasses, but not in a bad way. You're really just seeing everything for what it is. And when you are in alignment with the nature of reality, things also ironically seem to be colored a little bit more rosy because you just see the nature of things. You just get it. And you just like, you're more appreciative. Like, levels of gratitude feel a lot higher as well, which I'm not surprised. All of the good feels come in with these activations, man. So let's see what else is happening in terms of current karmic predicaments and karmic challenges. So we have Newt, mystery, beautiful, not surprised. You know, it's funny because the blue flame always reminds me of the blue avians, you know, Law of One teachings, and this ancient Egypt reminds me of blue avians and Law of One teachings as well. So I'm not surprised that those are coming up together. So your current karmic predicament and challenge, you know, it might just be the fact that I don't even know if this is so much a predicament for you, as it's feeling more like it's a predicament for other people to wrap their mind around how you are choosing to navigate your reality. Like with friends and family, like you might have a lot of people like chirping in and giving their 2 cents into how you're showing up or what you're doing. Like things that don't make sense to them make so much sense to you. And I'm trying to think of a good example of how to use that. But like when you, for example, if you're an entrepreneur and you are really wanting to be your main source of abundance, it's like you understand that if you were to take weird corners and be sneaky about things, like you're relying more on your logical brain and you're not trusting the universe and you're not trusting the flow of source to provide for you. So even if you might be winning in the shorthand by taking like cutting corners or whatever, you know that ultimately you're sabotaging your abundance because you're saying, I don't trust the universe to support me. So whereas most people would be like, hey, there's nothing wrong with doing this, this, and this, like even legally, there's nothing wrong with it. But you're like, well, maybe not from this level, but on a higher level, there's something wrong with it. It's not in alignment for me. And it might seem easy to some people, but like the Tao Te Ching says, like the easy way is actually the hard way. And the way that appears to be the hardest is actually the easy way. So I feel like ultimately you're just a mystery to other people. And if anything, your karmic predicament is having to try to break that down for other people, like the levels that you see from and what you're operating at. So let's get more details. We have the 4 of Cups coming through. We have the 5 of Pentacles coming through. And we have the Tower. So yeah, I mean, the Tower just reminds me of, you know, exactly what activations do. Activations will kind of remove the veils of illusion and, you know, removing only what needs to be removed that is getting in our way from being the most authentic version. So if things are crumbling around, again, remember, like, the divine is taking over. Like, the divine has the steering wheel right now. And so you just might be feeling a bit unsettled, or sorry if you can hear my neighbors, that's weird. I feel like, again, this might have to do more with other people with this Five of Pentacles coming through. And this Four of Cups, like, you might have relatives or people, and this might even be part of your thing too, like, just like how, you know, I can feel that I am being guided in a certain avenue, but how is it actually going to work out? How are things actually going to fall into place? Can I really trust myself this much? You know, this is like, I feel like you're really branching off into the realms of like being more of like in flow with the mystery, with the cosmos itself. So of course, being connected to the collective of humanity, this is what you're helping to heal, is like, you know, you're not going to be left out in the cold, because you are choosing to trust your higher aspect. And if anything, by you like getting too up in your head about how things should look, you're going to miss a divine opportunity when it's coming your way. So you might, no matter what end of the spectrum that you fall on, whether this is like you're feeling this and you're clearing it, or other people are feeling it for you and you're still doing your thing, like ultimately we're all connected. So the work is being done, and those integrations are being sent to the collective in general. But I feel like with this Wheel of Fortune and these activations, you know, sometimes we just feel and we recognize that we have outgrown our current environment and that it's time to move on. And a lot of the time when we've already known for a while that something needed to end or something needed to change and we didn't act on that, it's like you can't avoid that change when the universe wants it for you with this Tower card. And so you just might be experiencing that of like, okay, if you don't make the move, life is going to make it for you type thing. Yeah. And the last thing that I'm getting is just you are becoming much more, you might be being met with, you know, as you go through these activations and you're but you're in the process of integrating and solidifying your new paradigm. Sometimes life will offer us little distractions to see if we will continue to feed that old version and that old paradigm, or if we are truly ready to embody these higher codes. And you can't do anything wrong, right? At the end of the day, there's no such thing as a wrong move. However, I'm just hearing that one of your karmic challenges and predicaments is like not taking the bait from these past versions, these past realities that didn't actually support your highest aspect. That might even be something as small as like taking advice from people you know you shouldn't take advice from, taking advice from people that like can't even begin to scratch the surface of how you see the nature of things. And for a few of you, this has to do with like your external challenges have to do with how needs are going to be met. Or Five of Pentacles can even talk about how like schooling for children, like how you're going to meet the needs of your children as well. So first, I feel like for a very select few of you that's going to apply, but it was coming through. So I felt like I needed to address that. But just know with this activation, I'm taking this Tower more so as like in an internal type of awakening, an internal type of release that is going to have very noticeable and tangible external reflections. So you might be appearing real brand new to people and they might not know how to handle that. But it's like you can't stop this, right? You cannot stop an activation that needs to happen. But in hindsight, looking back, remember, you'll be able to put together and understand why things needed to go the way that they did. So let's get deeper into your highest timeline. Like what is this leading you into? We have the Bridge. So this is literally you're shifting into a new version of reality. I also see this as being representative of the Rainbow Bridge, which to me represents the bridge between heaven and earth, and the bridge between your higher codes, like your higher self, where your higher self wants you to go, what your higher self wants for you and knows that you are ready for, and taking that leap into that by, you know, following your intuitive nudges and ultimately grounding that on the earth plane. So taking it just from the realms of the ethers and letting it manifest onto the earth plane. So the bridge. Okay. The bridge between worlds. So yeah, with this activation, I mean, you are entering a new paradigm. There's going to be a lot falling away, but at the same time, I feel like as long as you can keep your vision on what's important and your vision connected to the all and connected to what you know to be true, like really relying on your belief systems, like really relying on your connection to your higher self, and not giving any F's about what any other teacher is saying or what anyone else is doing, but really becoming your most epic and your only sense of authority is your connection to your higher self. As long as you can do that and not taking the bait from other people and like what their fears and limiting beliefs are and what they say is going to go wrong, man, as long as you stay connected to that ultimate vision, it's like you are going to be feeling literally like you are living in your own paradise, your own heaven on earth, your own promised land. So let's see what else the tarot has to say. We have Temperance, we have 10 of Wands, and we have the 8 of Wands. So yeah, it's going to feel very fast, like very quick moving energy. I feel like too, you know, what your guides are coming through and saying is that don't be surprised if it feels like it's going to feel light, it's going to feel fun, but remember that if it starts to feel heavy, it's like you're going through an alchemization right now, an alchemical process where your belief systems are upgrading. And so the heaviness is not necessarily a negative thing, but at the same time, know that you don't have to carry that load. You don't carry past versions of self, past ideas, past anything. Like, do your best as you cross this rainbow bridge into your promised land, into this new expansive, more bright, that you're probably already feeling connected to, because you are going through this activation. Be okay with releasing what's heavy and what's old and done. It's going to happen quickly. I feel like you have a lot of fire in this chart, and with this tower too, like this can just say as well that, you know, this shift and this activation has a lot of potent, quick energy behind it, right? The tower can represent just things changing very rapidly. It doesn't even have to be negative. However, again, because we have Temperance and healing, it's also telling me that you'll know that you are keeping your perceptions and your perspectives in alignment with the highest vision and with the way things are and how they're always operating for you and in your best interest when you feel content, when you're feeling grounded, when you're feeling good. But again, with this 8 of Wands and the 10 of Wands, and then also Temperance, just talking about alchemization, like, don't be surprised too if there's a bit of a burn off, or if it feels like, you know, you feel a little bit tired. Activations are interesting because you have such high potent energy pouring through, and it's like you can reach burnout really quickly if you are not careful. And whatever, we're always learning, whatever that means, being careful. But it's like, you know, burnout can be part of it. And being very, very fatigued, very tired can also be part of it too. So again, that 10 of Wands energy, just feeling like burnt out, can also be part of it. Like you're making rapid and cellular level types of transformations. And so sometimes in order for that bridge, that jump to happen, like we need to get out of the way. And the biggest time that we get in our way is through overthinking. So, you know, I'm hearing that you might be napping more, you might be guided to nap more. But just know that good things, really good things are happening. Like, I feel like you guys are probably already feeling that, where you're feeling very disconnected from what the rest of the world says is going on. And you, as you solidify your own reality bubble and solidify like this bliss, man, and this ecstasy, like you are this hand helping other people cross over as well. I mean, that's essentially what starseeds are here for. Starseeds are here to be the bridge, to be the conduits. Like, you've most likely done this before on other planets. You've been through this phase, this density. You've already explored this type of density on other planets and within other dimensions. And so you're just kind of, you know, helping other people, helping the planet, helping Earth kind of do the same thing. So very polarizing experiences, but ultimately I feel like this highest timeline and how you'll know you're kind of on it is there will be a contentment behind the purges. And that's how you know you're kind of leaning into this crossing of a paradigm versus resisting it. Again, not carrying past baggage, like leaving that baggage and those lessons and everything, like you've integrated them, but unless the stories are serving in terms of like helping other people navigate something similar, like putting those stories to rest and not carrying resentments over, not carrying like unforgiveness over. Yeah, but it's going to feel very fast. I'm hearing overall, it's like things are going to start picking up for you in many good ways. Like things are going to, if you're not already feeling this, it's like you are feeling like you are on cloud 9. It's going to feel more and more like you're on cloud 9. And like also the last thing that's coming through is a deeper surrender and a deeper trust of the one, of the mystery too. Because you see how whenever things have fallen apart, it's like usually because they were meant to and they weren't serving you, and a part of you might have been attached to them in a more codependent, negative type of way, right? So ultimately, yeah, beautiful energies coming through. You guys are on it. You guys are on the right path. Pay no mind to the naysayers and the haters. It's like you are here, like you're guiding them. You see more than most people. So yeah, I'm going to leave this reading here for now. Just know that if this resonated, please give it a thumbs up and connect with your star family in the comment section. It really helps my channel grow. Subscribe if you haven't already, and know that if this is your first time coming across my tarot content, that this is my newer channel. I have about 11 months of tarot readings on my other channel, and I'm going to link those readings in the description box. It's going to be the first link below. So if you resonate with my style of reading and my energy in general, maybe check those out as well. I hope I see you guys soon. Much love.